Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hello everyone. This is Dennis Kaye here with Belize Islands Real Estate coming to you live today. It is a beautiful sunny afternoon, and I hope the weather is good where you're at. Our webinar will begin just in about 1 or 2 minutes. We thank everyone for attending. And as you get settled in, first of all, I'd like to take care of a couple sound check and slide checks to make sure the equipment's working okay today. So if you can hear my voice, please type in yes in the question or chat box. And if you can see on your screen the opening slide, which shows a picture of me on the beach and my name and a couple of the shows I've been on, please type in yes as well. All right, very good. Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Ken, Dee. All right, looks like it's going to be a good crew today. Interestingly, I'm standing in that picture on Myrtle Beach. That was a picture I took when I visited my family back in May of this year, May of 2018. My brother and his family lived there, and I just got off the phone with Mike, and they are getting ready to evacuate. Obviously, we have a major storm coming to that part of the United States. So for any of you dialing in today who are anywhere near the East Coast, please be safe, make good preparations, follow all directions and orders, and evacuate if need be. It looks like it's going to cause quite a bit of damage. And so really that's going to give me the opportunity to talk about the hurricanes on Ambergris Caye and in Belize, and what happens when a hurricane comes our way, because obviously this one here is going to cause some damage up in the U.S., and we need to know how we're protected down in Belize. So anyway, just thought I'd give a shout out to all of you who are in the path of that storm up there. To begin with today, first of all, I would like to just introduce myself. I am Dennis Kaye. I was born and raised in Bay City, Michigan. My wife and I, Stephanie, moved to Belize in 2003. We lived on the mainland of Belize and also the islands. Spent the majority of our time there on the island of Ambergris Caye and also extensively on Caye Caulker, which is immediately to the south. And over those many years of living in Belize, I was able to be involved in different sort of real estate companies, investments, being an agent at several different companies, including my own. And I had the opportunity to work with such shows as HGTV, House Hunters International, Live Here Buy This. And also my investment philosophy was recorded in several different very popular podcasts. So if you'd like more information on that and you want to find out a little bit more about who I am and what I've done in Belize, go ahead and shoot me an email and I'll send you some direct links to some of those things. But first of all, what I'd like to do is just ask you a favor. I am going to throw a poll up on your screen, which you should see now. And I'm going to ask you just to take 20 or 30 seconds to vote or to choose why you're attending this webinar. And the reason I'm asking this is because I tailor these webinars depending on who's attending, because I want to make them informative and educational and fun for everyone. And so over time, I can get an idea of who my attendee is. And I know today there are several of you attending that already own property on the island. Some of you are investors. Some of you are looking to retire to Belize or maybe own a vacation home. And if you would just take a minute to vote, it would help me out and I would greatly appreciate it. I'll leave the poll here for just a few more minutes, a few more seconds rather. I'll close the poll and then I'll actually share it on my screen so you as well can see who's attending today. So just waiting for the voting to slow down a bit. All right, very good. All right, I'm going to close the poll. I'm going to share the results. So it looks like, okay, so 0% of you are just curious and want to learn more. That's interesting. 38% are looking to own vacation property. 63% are looking to retire to Belize. And it looks like 0% are looking for an investment. So that's good. So that tells me what today's focus is going to be about. I'm not going to talk so much about financial investment. I'm not just going to give you the basics of Belize. I'm going to focus on information that applies to vacation home ownership, those who want to spend a good amount of time on the island, maybe 4, 5, 6 months a year, to winter in Belize or summer in Belize, and talk about what it means to retire in Belize and give you some information that might affect your decision moving forward. So let me just throw that off the screen and continue with the webinar. So you know that before I started off live tonight, I sent an email out to many of you asking you a question. What questions did you have for me that you would like to see addressed in the webinar, in this live event? And what information or topics would you like to see covered? And I really appreciate all the replies. I got dozens of emails from many of you, and I so appreciate that because I use that information to build this presentation. And one of the pieces of feedback that I really appreciate is from a good friend and client of mine named Rob. He's a current Ambergris Caye property owner, and he really nailed my webinars on the head. He said, lately, your emphasis has been on investing and investment returns with little emphasis on long-term lifestyle changes. And that is absolutely true. If you go back and you watch any of my previous webinars, I'm heavily involved in investing in Belize myself, and I have found creative ways to help my clients do the same. But here's the problem with that. He said the majority of the people that he runs into at various condo resorts on island are all there due to the fact that Belize has so much to offer. The people of Belize, the long-term healthy lifestyle changes. So he suggested that I focus on this aspect of life, and I couldn't agree more. And here's why. When my wife and I decided back in 2002 to go to Belize to see if it was a place we wanted to live, we could have cared less about the financial investment return. We were looking for a lifestyle change. And so we made our buying and moving decision based on several factors that involved us enjoying a greater quality of life, not just gaining some extra cash, but really looking for a complete lifestyle change. And Belize ended up giving us so much of what we were looking for. And so I'm going to share a little bit of that with you today. First of all, you notice that I'm heavily centric on Ambergris Caye. Now, why is that? Well, I lived in the mainland, various parts of the mainland. I traveled it extensively, but Ambergris Caye offers what most of my clients are looking for. Most people from the US or Canada are looking for a tropical Caribbean place to live that has good weather, that's safe, that's secure, and that offers the barefoot island lifestyle. Well, Ambergris Caye offers that. This is an island that belongs to the country of Belize. It is 25 miles long, about four miles wide at its widest, and about 71.2% of all overnight tourists that come into the country of Belize end up on Ambergris Caye. It is the #1 retirement destination. So it's interesting how many of you are looking to retire to Belize that are on this webinar today. You should take note of this slide because out of all the places to go in Belize, and there are several nice places to go, Ambergris Caye is the #1 retirement destination because it has that barrier reef just off the east side, which provides so many of the activities that people want in an island lifestyle. And I'll get into those more in a little bit. Let's go to our next slide. Here's some gratuitous photos of the island. This is what many of you are looking for, I'm sure, especially as we get into the cold winter months. You know, we're only into September, but I looked at the weather report to some of you northern provinces of Canada, and you're already dipping down to the cool temperatures. And don't worry, US, you aren't too far behind. But this is what Belize looks like year-round. We have those crystal clear blue waters. We have a year-round tropical climate, swaying palm trees, lots of sunshine, a little bit of rain to keep things green. And this is why people are looking at Ambergris Caye and why it has become so popular in the last 3 to 5 years and why our tourism numbers are just absolutely through the roof. But along with this barefoot island lifestyle comes a lot of luxuries that you wouldn't expect for such a small place. For instance, we have some incredible restaurants and cafes, including Giotto's, one of the newest restaurants on the island, which serves up excellent Japanese food and sushi. We have a place called the Truck Stop, which has several different cafes and restaurants that are built out of shipping containers. We even have a French boulangerie that makes fresh croissants and baguettes. And really, we have a lot to offer for such a small island in the terms of creature comforts, services, and amenities. So one person described it to me like it's moving abroad out of North America, looking for that island lifestyle, but with training wheels on. So it's not completely different from life at home, but it is a lot different, enough to make it a different experience. Now, International Living Magazine, many of you might be followers or subscribers to that magazine. They rated Ambergris Caye one of the top 5 easiest places to move overseas. So again, retirees take note. If you're looking to sell off everything and actually relocate to another area, you don't want that to come with complications. You want that to be easy. Well, it's easy to move to Ambergris Caye. Also, there was an article not too long ago that was entitled, "This Lifestyle Isn't Available at Any Price in the U.S." And that's true. The U.S. has a lot of nice places to live, so does Canada. But Ambergris Caye is very unique and special. And surprisingly, it doesn't break the budget. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that by going through some cost of living numbers today and also some different real estate options to show just how affordable living on an upscale island like Ambergris Caye can be. I'm also going to talk about the expat community on the island. International Living voted it as one of the top places to easily meet fellow expats, and they also rated Ambergris Caye the #1 island to live on. And that's something because they promote a lot of different properties throughout the world. Properties around the Mediterranean, off the coast of Spain, off the coast of Honduras with the Roatan Islands, different islands of Belize. And Ambergris Caye is consistently the top island that they recommend to retirees and vacation home owners. Now, if you're looking for more general information on Belize, do this. Not right now, but when this webinar is completed, go to youtube.com and type in my name, Dennis K, and then the word Belize, and you'll be able to see all the videos that I have posted up till now. And there's a video entitled Belize 101. Everything you need to know and a bit more. This is for all you brand new newbies out there. So if you've never visited the country before, and if you're one of the ones who email me and say, Dennis, I'm looking at potentially Panama, Costa Rica, maybe even some other Caribbean islands and Belize, and I'm looking to see how Belize is different, well then please watch that video. It's about an hour long, and I cover all the nuts and bolts that gives an overview of Belize so you can see if the country is right for you or if you should move on and look for someone else. But also this video, the one I just highlighted in this next slide, called a live Belize real estate webinar, the lifestyle episode. And this episode, which is an hour and 14 minutes long, I really go into depth about what it's like to live on an island. I answer such questions as, do you get island fever? Do you run out of things to do? What are the pros? What are the cons? And I really highlight the realistic the good and bad, right? Because it's not all paradise, even though the pictures may look like it. There are some bad. There's some things that are irritating, but overall, it's a very positive experience, depending on what you're looking for. So you can go ahead and watch that video maybe at a later time. But here, there are a few pictures of what you can enjoy when you are a property owner or when you spend time in the island. There are plenty of activities in and around the water. For example, there's lots of areas to have beach barbecues, including this sandbar, which is located on the west side of Ambergris Caye in the Ambergris Bay Area. It's becoming very, very popular with locals and tourists alike. You can always find isolated beaches to spend the day, to have a barbecue, to hang out with family and friends. Also, if you're a diver or you want to be a diver or you're a snorkeler, there's plenty of companies that will take you out to the reef. So you can hire a catamaran for the day or longer if you want. You can take private boats out to the Barrier Reef, go to Holchan Marine Reserve, which is very, very popular, go to Mexico Rocks. And if you're a diver, all up and down the coast of Ambergris Caye, and including the Coral Atolls, a little bit farther out, are very, very popular. These are untouched dive sites that are absolutely pristine, and you should certainly not miss the Blue Hole. We just saw this week that Sir Richard Branson will be heading there to discover the bottom of the Blue Hole, one of his submersible submarines. So that's kind of neat, having Richard Branson visit the country again. So we look forward to that. But again, here's some more pictures. This is what people think of when they think of retiring to a tropical destination. This is the reason people end up in Belize, and by extension, the reason many of you start to invest, buy your own property so you can have your own place in the sun. If you like to fish, fishing is absolutely one of the top sports in Belize, both the flats fishing, you see the bonefish, the tarpon, and so forth, but also fish you can eat. So you have tuna, mahi-mahi, barracuda, all that's caught just off our shores. Outstanding fishing, good times with family and friends. And again, just a few more shots here of the local diving just off the coast of Ambergris Caye and a shot showing the Blue Hole. So, with such a pristine place, you might ask the question, if this island is growing and developing, as I say it is, what are the protections in place to keep it pristine, keep it from being overran and damaged by the influx of tourists? Well, there are several things. First of all, the government is very pro environment, and they have set different standards for the island and different rules and regulations to protect it. First of all, in January 2018, Belize bans all offshore drilling and gas exploration. That was a huge piece of news for us. That means that not only is the ban in effect and taking place, but we never have to worry about major oil spills like they've had in other parts of the world, which would do serious damage to the marine life and the environment. They have also banned the use of single plastic bags and straws. So the plastic bags that you now see on Ambergris Caye, for example, if you get takeout at a restaurant, the to-go container it comes in and the plastic bag will all be biodegradable. They also recently expanded the Ho Chan Marine Reserve in addition to the Bacalar Chico Marine and Island Reserve. So what this means is the portion of the sea and the waters surrounding Ambergris Caye are protected waters. They expanded these areas, and they also have a very large portion of the island on the north side called the Bacalar Chico Marine Reserve, which a portion of the land itself is protected. So if you live in North America, the United States, or Canada, it's kind of like state land that you cannot build on. You can't use it for anything. Well, a lot of the waters and the land surrounding Ambergris Caye has been designated as these reserves. And then finally, for any new project in and around Ambergris Caye, they have to go through a pretty rigorous EIA, which is an environmental impact assessment review, where the top, I don't know what to call them, professionals, you might say, in the country of Belize review the project to see if it's up to standard and to see what sort of impact it would have in the environment. And only projects that meet very strict criteria are approved. So they take into consideration things like density, if it would have an impact on the water system, things like that, any runoff, any damage to the environment. So they really have taken good precautions as far as protecting the jewel that we have there on Ambergris Caye. Now, something that I've talked about extensively in past webinars, I'm not going to dwell on it at all tonight, but is the arrival of the branded resorts and hotels and how this is a game changer for Belize. Now, what is happening is since we've now had so much tourism, so much positive feedback, so many good investments gone through, that now you look at the branded hotels such as the Four Seasons, the Marriott, the Hilton. These hotels are now starting to build and develop and brand properties on Ambergris Caye and in the surrounding islands. So, for example, Caye Chapel will be now branded into a Four Seasons. On the island of Ambergris Caye itself, we have two Marriott properties in the works. We have a 203 oceanfront property called being developed by ECI. I forgot the name of it here, and a 55 key property called Alaya that will open under the Marriott Autograph Collection in 2020. So more about that. If you want to know more about those hotels, shoot me an email. I'll send you the links to previous webinars where I talked about those in detail. Also, many of you know about the Hilton's new property, the Curio Collection by Hilton, the Mahogany Bay Village Resort and Beach Club. This is now open and running. I was just there in July, spent many, many days there. I ate at the restaurants. I worked from the Great House. I took a boat from there over to their West Side Beach Club. It's absolutely stunning. It's brilliant. It's probably one of the top properties I've ever been to in the country of Belize. And to be honest, at first I had my reservations because it's not on the ocean. It's not on the bayside, so you don't have those expansive views of water. But what you have is a beautiful top-end community that is laid back and at the same time feels sort of like James Bond in the Caribbean. It really has a very cool, unique feel to it, and there's so much to see and do there. I found myself just going there to hang out while I had my computer, my laptop open, getting some work done, did a couple live webinar events there, so really, really cool place. But one of the things that I wanted to tell you about in this webinar is a new development that is happening on the southern tip of Ambergris Caye, so all the way south, 5.5 miles from San Pedro town. The property is called La Serene. Now, this is also going to be branded by one of the major hotel brands. We are not yet announcing what that is. It's being kept secret, but you can see this aerial rendering of it is a very large project already well underway, and this is going to host a true marina, one of the only marinas made possible on the East Coast. For those of you who know the topography of Ambergris Caye, it's just not possible to have a marina unless it's cut into the island like this. This not only has its approval, but we expect the cutting in the marina to take place here in the next 6 to 12 months. So very, very exciting. So now what does this all mean to most of you who told me you're looking at Ambergris Caye as a vacation destination or a retiree destination? Well, it goes into how you make your lifestyle decision and where you actually end up buying and spending most of your time. When I look at all the people, this is aside from the branded resorts, so I look at all the people that have bought property from me, have made a financial investment on the island, or have made a lifestyle investment. Those like Rob who own a property not just to get a financial return, but to use it so that they and their mates can have make wonderful memories on the island. They can have family and friends come. They can truly live that barefoot lifestyle that they've been thinking about, enjoy that nicer weather. When I think about all those people that have come through me through the years, and now with the branded resorts coming, I can honestly say with 100% confidence that we've done our homework, we've crunched the numbers, and you are safe here. Safe in many ways. People have come before, they've done their due diligence. You will not lose out if you invest in Belize, and especially if you do so smartly, you buy in the right area, and the lifestyle returns, especially long term, are going to be absolutely amazing. So Ambergris Caye is attracting both financial investors and vacation homeowners and retirees. We're seeing that now more than ever before. So now what I wanted to do is talk to you about the pros and cons of retiring abroad. And by retiring abroad, I mean moving there permanently, selling everything, lock, stock, and barrel, getting rid of the home, the cars, everything in the US or Canada, and actually relocating permanently to the island. Some of you are looking to do that, while others are looking to do something more on the lines of using it as a winter home or a summer home, or spending several months a year on the island, becoming an expat part-time. So let's talk a little bit about the pros and cons of doing that. First of all, is the cost of living. I don't care where you live in North America, Ambergris Caye is probably going to be cheaper. I've not found anyone yet who has come down to the island and said that their cost of living on the island month by month is more expensive than the lifestyle they have in the US or Canada. And here's why. We have lower rents, lower property values, very low property taxes. We have golf carts to use as cars, so you have no car payment. You have very, very low golf cart insurance. I think the last time I paid insurance on my golf cart, it was $45 for the year. That means your maintenance on your golf cart is very low. That means the gas you put in your golf cart is very low. And the food on Ambergris Caye is less expensive than the food in North America. So some items, if they're imported, may run you a bit more, but if you look for the locally produced food items, foodstuffs, the fresh fruits, the fresh vegetables, the fish, the locally grown meats, the chickens, everything, those are going to be very, very reasonably priced, and your food bill will be lower. Some cost of living will be higher. For example, if you are an energy hog and you love to run that AC 24/7 and keep it ice cold in your place, well, then that's going to cost you probably more than you would in the United States. But if you just like to leave the windows open, use fans, catch the ocean breezes, you'll find that your electricity costs are very reasonable. Also, for those of you who are paying high cable and internet bills in the States, internet on island is, I think it's $35 a month now. So if you add all those up together, you're going to find that you have a lower cost of living in Belize, but even on an island as upscale as Ambergris Caye. What you'll also find is point number two: higher quality and cheaper health care. We have excellent doctors on island. Typical office visit is $25. Prescriptions tend to be cheaper. And for any major operations, the private hospitals, Belize Healthcare Partners, and Belize Medical Associates, located in Belize City, do incredible job. We have excellent surgeons there, excellent doctors, and the price for most operations is way less than you would find in the United States and Canada. And also regarding dental, Belize is one of those countries that is listed on the list of a dental tourism. So many people actually come to Belize to get their dental work done. It's high quality and it's a heck of a lot cheaper than in North America. Number three is the great weather. We have excellent weather on the island, not too much rain, not like we get down on the southern mainland. So down there they get just a boatload of rain in the rainy season, or more temperate and moderate on Ambergris Caye. And even in those hot, still months, which I guess is past week, I'm not on the island right now, but over the past 7 to 10 days, I've heard major complaints about the mosquitoes. So that's one of the cons during the slow season when those winds die down. And in fact, right now, I think it's pretty still. Then it can get a little hot and sticky. But usually we have the trade winds coming in, those ocean breezes, which keeps everything to a reasonable degree. And then finally, number four, you have an opportunity for adventure. So first of all, just to come to the country of Belize for vacation, you got to be a little adventurous, right? It's not on the main bucket list of most people, but to actually consider spending months a year there or retiring, then you got to be a little adventurous. And what you're looking for in life is probably something different than what you're used to. So Belize offers that. And you can go exploring rainforests. You can go learn how to dive. You can learn a second language, learn Spanish or Belize Creole or Chinese, or explore the Mayan ruins, or go cave tubing and take up birding. And there's so much to do when you immerse yourself in a different culture. And Belize itself has a lot to do, but then you can also use it as a basis for exploration for other countries. So it's easy to get to Guatemala, to parts of Mexico, to Costa Rica, excuse me, other places like that. So those are what I would consider the top four pros of retiring to Ambergris Caye. But now, what about the cons, the potential cons? Well, first of all, there are major cultural differences. I mean, is friendly and nice as the Belizean people are, they do think differently. They have their own ways of doing things, and you know what? It's not better or worse than it's done anywhere else. It's just different. But if you're a type A personality and you like things your way and you like things structured and you're used to getting things done a certain way, that can be a little disconcerting or troubling in Belize because they do things differently. So you will have to get used to that. And you know what? Some things just might not make sense to you. But you know what? I've traveled all over the world now. I just went to Iceland in June. That was a 30th country I've been in. And every country I've been in teaches me something. And you know what? It's not right or wrong. It's just different. But I come away growing from it. But if you are not used to new experiences and you're not adaptable, well, then you know what? You might have some problems in Belize. Just a heads up, just a warning. Also, for those of you looking to move abroad, you might have considered other countries such as Costa Rica, Panama, Dominican Republic, maybe some countries in Europe. You need to take into consideration of learning to speak a new language is a pro or a con for you. For many people, they want the hobby or the idea, or they're in love with the thought of learning another language, which is fine. But in order to immerse yourself in a culture in a different language takes a certain degree of proficiency. And that can be intimidating to some. Well, Belize doesn't have that problem. It is English speaking, so that means all the banks are in English, all the real estate contracts, all your rental agreements, everything is in English. You don't have that problem in Belize like you would have in other countries. But look at point number three under cons. This is also one of those things. It's a personal thing, but it could become an issue for some, and I've seen it become an issue for some, is leaving behind family and friends. If you're a person who needs a good social life and you're leaving behind family and friends in North America, then you need to be outgoing and proactive as far as making new friends in Belize. It's not like you have these friends that you've built up over the years, and you can do that. There is a large expat community on Ambergris Caye, but better yet, there's a lot of locals who are very friendly, and your families will no doubt become friends with their families and so forth. So there is no us and them mentality. But I have seen people move to the island, get very lonely, because now they're all by themselves and they're stuck in their condo because they don't like to go out much and they don't really like to do much, and that can cause problems. Loneliness, depression. We've seen some of my dearest clients get involved in drug and alcohol abuse, sadly to say, and they end up having to go back to the states. So those are just some of the cons. I'm just being realistic, not being a downer, but I just wanted to let you know that it does come with certain sort of what can I say here? I just want to paint the picture of reality for you. So if you're looking at moving abroad, just consider these things and then see if doing so is really right for you or not. But if you don't go anywhere, if you don't do anything, then you have nothing new to explore and no new lifestyle to engage in. So I like the quote by Andre Gide: "Man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore." So I wish you well on your adventure. And if Belize ends up being your future, fantastic. I'd be glad to help. But if it's not, well, no big deal. I'm sure you're going to have a good life for it no matter where you are. The good news is if you do decide to pursue this, which is probably why you're on this webinar, then it's comforting to know that you're not the first. No one likes to be the first to a new destination. It comes with too many uncertainties. You need to know and have the confidence that many have come before you. They've tested the waters. If you go on TripAdvisor right now, you can read hundreds of thousands of reviews on Ambergris Caye, and for the most part, you find rave reviews. A couple negatives, like you would find anywhere, but you find fantastic reviews from people who vacation here, but also more importantly, retire and live here a good portion of the year. So now what I like to do is take your questions that I've gotten beforehand, and I'm going to go through these. And some of you asked direct questions that I will answer directly. Other questions I will answer in the context of giving you other information. And then at the end, we're going to open it up wide to some more Q&A. So please get your questions ready. First of all, I had a very interested client ask me this question: what parts of the island are better than others and why? All right, so that's a reasonable question. I have to ask the question back: what is your definition of better? And actually, he did clarify this. He said, what areas are better for the lifestyle? So he's looking at spending many months a year here, possibly retiring. So he wants to know, if he were to come down to the island and actually buy his own property, where on the island will be better for him than other areas. And this is given what his budget is, because that's a determining factor. And at the same time, if he were to buy a different property for investment purposes, again, depending on his budget, where would that property be? So what I'd like to do now is just go through some basic information that answers those two questions. Now, hold on just 1 second and to grab a sip of water so my throat here doesn't dry out too much. All right, thank you very much for your patience. So this slide is very important. It looks simple, it's black and white, but look what I've written here. It said the island lifestyle can be enjoyed by everyone, no matter where you live on island and what your budget is. This is what I want to stress. So many of my clients send me an email and it starts off like this: Dennis, I'm interested in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo on the ocean. What do you have for me? And when I send them what we have that meets those criteria, many times the budget is too high for them. They just can't cut that big of a check. They can't afford that much of an investment. So you know what happens is within one email, they get discouraged and they give up on their dreams of coming to Belize. When in reality, what they're searching for is not a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo on the ocean. What they want is an opportunity to enjoy the island lifestyle, to vacation, to retire to a tropical place. So that can be enjoyed no matter where you live on the island. Here's a Google Earth shot of Ambergris Caye. It's hard to make out, but you can see it's 25 miles long. At its northern point, towards the top of your screen, there's a very thin yellow curvy line. That represents the border between Mexico and Ambergris Caye. So it's 25 miles long, 4 miles wide at its widest, but most of it is completely undeveloped. So the opportunities where you can actually buy a home or a condo or a piece of land that's accessible is very, very not isolated. It's very compact, so to speak. So everything you're going to see here presented today is within a very small portion of what is a fairly large island. So let me go on to explain why and how this is. This slide shows the distances from the heart of San Pedro town, the only town on the island. It's located in the southern portion of Ambergris Caye. And for calculating distances and times, I've used Google Earth. But again, since all of us use golf carts to get around, your average golf cart speed is 14 to 15 miles an hour. Some of the some of the golf cart owners have souped theirs up to go a bit faster, but this is your average. So as an example, from the heart of San Pedro town to Secret Beach is 3.5 miles as the crow flies, but 5.5 miles by road. So you can drive to Secret Beach in 20 minutes by golf cart. You can drive from San Pedro town up to Grand Caribe and go to Rain Restaurant and go to the truck stop and many other cafes, beach bars, and restaurants that are surrounding Grand Caribe. That's 2 miles north of town. So again, takes you a few minutes to get up there. Mahogany Bay Village, going south now from San Pedro town, is 2 miles south on paved road. So again, a couple minutes to get down there. And if you were to go all the way down to La Serene, which is that new property that I showed you the rendering of, that is 5.5 miles south of town. So again, if you could go 14 or 15 miles an hour, it'd take you about 20 minutes to get down there. I think right now the last mile of the road is a little rough, but that'll be fixed soon. But still, 20, 25-minute drive. So you see, no matter where you live on the island, no matter where your home base is, you can make it pretty much anywhere and do the typical tourist things that people like to do. Go hang out at Secret Beach, go to a restaurant around Grand Caribe, go to Mahogany Bay, go to the Rum and Bean coffee shop, hang out for the afternoon. So everything, it was within a very close proximity. Now, another thing you might be concerned about is, where do I need to live on island to take advantage of the activities and the things that I'm most likely going to be doing every day, such as snorkeling, diving, fishing, kayaking. Well, again, if you want to do all of these things, it doesn't really matter where your home base is on island. Here's a slide that shows you can go to Mexico Rocks, Holchan Marine Reserve, you can go diving, you can go fishing, and the guides and tour operators that take you to all these places are located along the entire coast of Ambergris Caye. For example, if you're staying in Ambergris Mahogany Bay Village, that new subdivision with all the canals, there are tour operators right on site. If you're staying up at Cocoa Beach, if you have a place at Las Terrazas, if you have a place in town, all of these places have their own tour operators that take people out snorkeling, diving, fishing, kayaking, sailing. So to access all those beautiful places on the island, the time to get there and do those things is again within a literally 2 to 10 minute golf cart drive of anywhere on island. So I really want to get that point across, because we can find you something that fits your budget. Don't worry about Ambergris Caye being priced out of the market for you. Now, I do have this question a lot that comes back, and it says, but I do want to be on the beach. What do you have on the beach? Well, it's easy. I can show you my website. I can show you the 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom condos we have on the beach. I can show you the homes. But here's what many people don't fully appreciate about Ambergris Caye. Ambergris Caye is not a classical beach town like Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Miami, Myrtle Beach, where you have those block wide areas of white sand beach that lead down into big rolling waves breaking on shore. Ambergris Caye is a coral atoll. It's very flat, and it has the barrier reef right in front of it. So we can have a major hurricane just offshore where you can have large waves breaking on the reef, and on the shores of Ambergris Caye, you only have maybe 1 to 2 foot waves breaking on shore. So the island itself is very protected because of that barrier reef. But because it's a coral atoll, the beaches of Ambergris Caye are very, very narrow. On some of them, there's bedrock right at the surface. And to be honest, most people do not hang out at the beaches and they do not swim from shore. They use the hotel pools. That's why you find a lot of the hotels go with big pools, even at very high end places like Cocoa Beach, Victoria House, one of the top resorts on the island. You will not see people going in the water from shore. They'll use the pools, and then when they want to go out for the other water activities, they'll go by boat or kayak to get out to those crystal clear waters. Now, a question that came in regarding the beaches is this. Dennis, can you talk about the problem of the sargassum grass and how it's affecting the island? Absolutely. So here's what's happening with that. Sargassum grass is a marine weed that grows out in the ocean, and at different times of the year, it's like it's on steroids, and it grows extremely fast, and the wind and the waves bring it all along the eastern shores of all the Caribbean islands, and even including the United States, down in Honduras, and it's definitely affecting Belize. I want to show you some pictures that I took here in July. I was walking the beach one early morning. This is a picture of right downtown San Pedro. You see the water taxi there in the background. That's the water taxi that comes in from Belize City. Now, this beach is in a stage of cleanup. So you see the seagrass there in the water, and then you see these big piles of the sargassum grass that they have literally raked onto the beach with pitchforks, and they're in the process of loading it onto trucks and trailers, hauling it off to be dumped somewhere else. This is what they have to do every single morning. This is a picture that I took, which is directly in front of Ramon's Village, right downtown San Pedro. You see they're keeping this beach pretty clean. They're now raking that seagrass onto the beach, hauling it off into trailers and trucks to be disposed of. But again, you can see that there's not going to be many people swimming right off of the shore. Now, this problem is affecting not only Belize, but also South Florida. So again, I was up there visiting family in July. This was a news article that just came out regarding the problem on August 1st. It said sargassum grass harasses South Florida during worst seaweed assault on record. And here is a picture of, let's go to the next slide, Miami Beach. So Miami Beach isn't immune to this effect. So you can see the sargassum grass there. Notice how far people have to go back from the water. But here, because you have more of a classic beach with deep water off the shore, you find people wading through it and getting out into the to the more swimmable water. Now, how is this affecting Belize in general, especially places like Placencia, Ambergris Caye? Well, look at this slide. This is a slide picture that was taken last week down in Placencia. Placencia is what I would call the mainland sister area to Ambergris Caye, in that it is fairly popular with people looking to retire and to own vacation homes. Placencia is a beautiful area on the mainland, but they are being inundated with this sargassum grass. Now, the good thing about this grass is it does go in stages. So you might have a few years of it being really bad and a few years of being not so bad. But when I moved to Belize in 2003, it was there and it's still there now. And so obviously it can become less, but it also can become worse. The one good thing about Ambergris Caye is this. That sargassum grass will be pushed up along the eastern shores only. So all up along the eastern Caribbean side. So if you look at this slide to the right, you see that deep blue water. That is all Caribbean Sea. That is where the snorkeling, diving, fishing, kayaking all takes place along the reef. So for the most part, all of those water activities are unaffected by the sargassum grass. What you do have is it washing up on the shores, which I showed you in those previous slides. Now, the opposite side of Ambergris Caye, looking toward the west, so you see the light blue area, that is an area called Ambergris Bay. That is where places like Secret Beach are located, the Laguna Estate subdivision, Cayo Espanto, Blackador Caye, Cayo Rosario. There is no seagrass that washes up in this part of the island. So what you have are very clean beaches, clear waters, and good swimming. So again, going back to my point about it doesn't matter where you are on island as far as where your home base is, you aren't confined to just being on the seaside. For example, in Placencia, they don't have a backside of Placencia. They don't have an Ambergris Bay at their disposal. So all they have is that now inundated beachfront. This applies to City Village. This applies to Hopkins. This applies to all those other waterfront areas down there. Whereas Ambergris Caye has this benefit of you being able to drive over to that west side or take a boat to that west side and enjoy those beautiful clear waters. This is a picture that I took with my drone in July. These beaches were not recently raked or cleaned. This is the natural state of the water over here. You can see it's crystal clear, beautiful blue. This is I have not photoshopped this picture at all. This is what it truly looks like at about 1 in the afternoon on a Sunday. So again, very, very nice option. But to get back to the question, what part of the island is better than others and why? Here's where I want to answer your question directly. And I'm going to do this by giving you 3 different real estate options. Hang on 1 second. Let me grab a quick sip of water here. Now, in showing you these different options, I'm not showing you these to sell you anything because I don't care if you buy anything. What I want you to do is just to be educated on what's available, but I find that easier done if I use real properties as examples. So I'm going to take you through 3 options, and this applies whether you're looking for an investment, whether you're looking to retire to Belize, or whether you're looking for a vacation home. Option 1 is looking at lots and land in different areas. Number 2 is looking at turnkey properties that are ready to use now, homes and condos. And number 3 is looking at a rehab project that I think is a really, really good deal, especially for retirees. So first of all, let's take a look at the lots and land option. First of all, I want to highlight a property that is in the South Ambergris Village subdivision. This property is located where the Hilton Curio Collection Mahogany Bay Village Resort is located. That resort is located inside this gated subdivision. And in this gated subdivision, right next to the Hilton property, are a few canal front lots that are available that can be purchased just as the lot itself or as a lot and house combination package. Now, what are the pros and cons of this part of the island? To answer that question directly on what is the best place to buy, well, the pros are with this type of gated subdivision, you have actual zoning. So the lot is designated residential or commercial, and there are architectural controls on what you can and cannot build. So there are sample homes and sample commercial businesses that you can choose from, or you can hire an architect, have them design your own perfect home for you, and that has to meet certain criteria and go before a review board. But this means that you know basically what your neighbor is going to build, and there's a certain comfort level that comes along with that. It ensures that all the properties in this area uh, are at maximum market value. It ensures the quality of the build. It ensures that what you build is going to fit the environment, and that what your neighbor builds is also going to fit the look and the vibe of the subdivision. But also, all of these lots in this subdivision are canal front. Now, why is that important? Well, because the beachfront properties all along the island, north to south, are becoming cost prohibitive for some people. They're going up in price, and it's not always desirable to be on the beach from what we just looked at with the sargassum grass problem. So many people are turning to canal front properties because these canals have access right to the Caribbean Sea and right out to the crystal clear waters of Secret Beach and Ambergris Bay. Also, what you get with a property in the village is a built-in community. So you have everything you need on site. You have such things as markets, grocery stores, cafes, coffee shops, martini bars, things like that. So you become less and less dependent on outside grocery store services and amenities like San Pedro Town. You have HOA fees, and I put this as a pro. Why would that be a pro? Well, because HOA fees go to pay for certain services that keep a community looking good. So it pays for things like security, for exterior lighting, sometimes for landscaping. So depending on where you buy in the subdivision, your HOA fees can contribute to a more relaxed and easygoing lifestyle because you don't have to care for these things yourself. And you also have in the subdivision all utilities on site. So underground electric, you have water and sewer on site, you have cable, you have internet, everything is already there for you. So those are the pros. What are the cons? Well, the cons are some of the pros, depending on how you look at it. Number one, it's a gated subdivision and it comes with zoning. Some people don't like gated subdivisions. If you go down to some parts of Florida, you find people sometimes like buying in the gated subdivision. Others like the freedom to just buy in a local neighborhood. They don't want the architectural controls. They want to be able to build what they want, when they want, how they want. And they don't want HOA fees. So the cons are some people that want to live as inexpensively and cheap as possible don't want a bill every month to pay for services that they may or may not use. And for some, the price of these properties in a gated subdivision like this are just a bit more than they want to spend. But for those of you who do have the budget, I would say this is worth a serious look. Now, I'm going to go through several slides here very quickly just to give you an idea of the scope of this project. I'm going to show you some examples of what you can have built. This is an overview of the entire South Ambergris Caye village. You see it's broken up into two phases. Phase one is toward the north. You see that white area there? All of those white lots, all of those are properties along canals. That is part of the Hilton Curio Collection Hotel Group. And then what you see in yellow and red are other lots that are available to developers, builders, and single property owners. So this would be a fantastic place for those of you who are looking to retire to have a retirement home built or to buy a vacant piece of land now that you will build on as your retirement draws near. Here is a little bit more zoomed in view of the area that we're focusing in right now. Again, that white area is the Mahogany Bay Village Curio Collection Hotel and Resort. The other lots you see in yellow, purple, and what is it, pinkish, reddish, salmon color, those are different types of lots that you can purchase. Some are bayfront, some are called family compounds because they're a little bit larger lots, some are just standard canal lots. But on every single one of these, you have the possibility of keeping a boat right at your front door, and again, being out to enjoy all those wonderful activities on your own time and on your own schedule. Now, for an idea of what to build, I can send you a PDF that has dozens of options in our Caribbean collection. So you have everything from 2 and 3 bedroom homes, 1-story, 2-story. I'm just going to go through a couple of slides here to show you some of the options. This is called the Turtleback Cottage. Again, all of these are Belizean hardwood style homes that fit in really, really well with the area. They have beautiful finishes, but it still has that old Key West feel. Just a really, really nice job, nice finishes on the inside. And also you can go with something very, very simple on these lots. For example, this is called the Crofter. It's like a large 1-bedroom studio, elevated a bit so you can have your golf cart parking underneath, catch those breezes, have wonderful views. And so this is a great starter property. You could build something like this on it to start, and then maybe towards retirement, have another 1 or 2 built, or expand on this and eventually get the full-blown retirement home that you're looking for. So that's what I would suggest to answer your question as a good area to buy, because you have all the benefits that come with buying in an established area, the safety, the protection, the controls, but you still have access to everything that the island has to offer. Another option when it comes to lot and land are some of the North Ambergris Caye subdivisions. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons. The pros are we have entry-level pricing. So I have yet to have a buyer come to me who cannot afford to buy one of these lots. If someone emails me and says, I'm looking for property in Belize, they can afford to buy one of these. In addition, there's no build limits or restrictions attached to these subdivisions. In other words, there's no time limits on when you have to build, and there's no restrictions as far as what materials you have to use or what size the home has to be other than with the caveat of meeting basic San Pedro Town Council building codes. So you can't just throw up a plywood shack. It actually has to meet building code as far as your electric, your septic, your water, things like that. So it does have restrictions, but not necessarily architectural restrictions. Number two, the pros are these properties are zoned residential and commercial combination. So you can have a home and a business on these properties. Now, some of them are very close to the water, being just one lot off or two lots back from the beaches. Others are a bit further, but none are more than 1 or 2 miles from the beaches of Secret Beach or the beaches of the east side in the Caribbean Sea. Also, with these, you have no HOA fees. So, all looks good, right? What are the cons? Well, again, the cons are sometimes some of the pros. There's no build limits or restrictions. So you could come down today and you could build your home, and your neighbors surrounding you might not build theirs for 5, 10, 15 years. And in Belize, you can leave your property in its raw native state until you go to build. So you might be alone in an area for a good number of years, or you could have a neighbor tomorrow. It just depends on when they want to build. You don't have any architectural controls, as we discussed. Again, this is something you should consider because you could build, for example, a $500,000 McMansion, and next door your neighbor could build a $70,000 hardwood home. Does that affect your property values? Well, it could, depending on where you're at in the island. If you're on the beach or just off the beach, maybe not. But you got to take that into consideration. That's just one of the chances you take if you're buying in an area like this. Again, you have no HOA fees. Why would that be a con? Well, because you have to take care of everything yourself now. So you do your own landscaping. There's no pool access. There's no community pools, no community tennis courts. Maybe you don't care about those things, but if you do, you could join a gym or pay to play tennis or something else. But with no HOA fees comes a lower cost of living month over month. But you might miss some of the conveniences of being in a subdivision that does have them. And then finally, a lot of these lots on North Ambergris Caye are currently without utilities. So you would have to build off grid using solar for power, wind generated. For water, you're going to use rainwater cisterns. For sewage, you're going to use a self contained septic system. None of these things is complicated by any means. In fact, it's done all the time in Belize, and especially on North Ambergris Caye. But it comes with an added bit of a bit extra work. Now, here is a picture that I shot, again with my drone back in July, of the North Ambergris Caye subdivision. This area here is about 1.5 miles from Secret Beach and about 1.5 miles over to the east side beaches of the Caribbean Sea. You can see this homeowner built a beautiful Belizean hardwood home, but currently there's nothing around him, and might not be anything around him for a long time, or he could have a neighbor tomorrow. But these properties give everyone an opportunity to enjoy the laid back, barefoot island lifestyle at a very reasonable price. If you're interested in more about learning more how to build off grid, again, go to my YouTube channel, type in Dennis K. Dennis K. Belize in the YouTube search bar, and my videos will come up, and watch the video How to Build Off Grid in Belize. It's got over 2,500 views. I posted about 6 months ago, and it is a long video. It's an hour and a half, but I go into detail on how to do it and how easy it is. So just as a recap, looking at the two options for lots, the South Ambergris Caye Village subdivision, lot prices start at $150. You can finance any lot that's available with $45,000 down, pay the balance over 30 years, and house and lot packages start at $350. Again, I think one of the top deals for anybody looking to retire and enjoy the long-term benefits of the island lifestyle. To the right-hand side of the screen, as another option, the North Ambergris Caye subdivisions. Lot prices are $25,000 to $35,000. You can finance with as low as $6,250 down, balance over 30 years. Typically, your monthly payment is $199 a month, less than a car payment. And house and lot packages there start at $142,000. Again, just to make my point, look at this one screen. It doesn't matter where you're located, both people get to enjoy the island lifestyle. One does it one way, he has a little bit higher budget. One does it another way. but both get the beautiful weather of Belize, access to all activities, and long-term benefits of being on an island like Ambergris Caye. Here is another option if you're not looking to buy a piece of land, but you want something to use right now at the Mar Laguna property just north of San Pedro town, located on the San Pedro Lagoon right across from the ocean. This is a community of 1 and 2 bedroom homes with some single family villages attached to it. What we have is a 1 bedroom, second floor unit available in this development. It comes fully furnished, turnkey, down to their pots and pans and towels and bedding, artwork on the walls. It is ready to be give you the keys, move in full time. This is a very, very reasonably priced condo at 160 US. Now, if you're interested in why I say it's so reasonable, email me and I'll send you the listing link. Basically, you cannot afford to replace this condo today for 160. If you take into consideration build cost today, land cost, furnishing cost, this condo would cost much more to duplicate today. And that's why I feel for any of you who are looking to own a vacation home or set yourself up for retirement, even though it's just a 1 bedroom, take a hard look at this. This is an excellent deal for 160, and it also comes with some owner carry financing. And then finally, we have this property to compare. This is villa number 47. You can see in the screen I've used a red arrow to point to it. This is a freestanding, fully titled, unfinished 3 bedroom waterfront villa. Now in the back, you can see the Mar Laguna property, and attached to Mar Laguna are several pastel colored villas. Those villas are very similar to this one, but this one and a few others on this little peninsula here are not part of Mar Laguna. They're individually titled, so there are no HOA fees. At the same time, no access to the services and amenities of Mar Laguna, like the pool and the restaurant and the security and other things. But this villa gives the builder or rehabber a perfect opportunity to have a freestanding home on the water, to keep a boat right at their front door, and to be out to the Caribbean Sea, to the reef, to the West Side beaches, literally within minutes, and to do so at the lowest possible price. Property taxes for this house are $175 a year. There are no HOA fees. So what's the catch? Well, the catch is it has been sitting unfinished for several years. This is a very solid house. Concrete pilings have been driven down to bedrock. It's got a solid foundation, solid interior and exterior walls, solid concrete capped roof, but it absolutely needs finishing. So if you want to know more about it, go to my YouTube channel, look up Villa number 47. I have a drone video of it as well as interior videos and pictures, and you can see just how much work needs to be done. It's not pretty. It's ugly right now. It has sat unfinished for several years, but for those of you who are builders, you can see beyond that. I know you can. For you flippers, for your property improvers, you see that the bones are solid and needs finishing. So it needs someone to go in, power wash it, finish the walls, put tile on the floor, trim it out with hardwood, put in the windows and doors, furnish it, take that top flat rooftop area, turn that into a beautiful outdoor living room, maybe put a little plunge pool up there, put a barbecue, outdoor kitchen, maybe a pergola for shade. This will be the perfect villa for somebody who's looking at a ground floor opportunity and they want their own home. Again, you can see from the pictures, surrounded by water, and you can be out to any of the beaches, any of the water activities just in a matter of minutes. All right, so this villa, let's go back up here. I missed the price, is priced at 175 US. Again, fully titled, sits on its own lot, 175 US. It needs your handiwork. We have had quotes for builders to finish the work and make it turnkey ready. email me. I'll email you those prices and options. But I think this villa could be something really special. I wouldn't finish it basic. Some of the villas in this area are just basic finished, but there is so much you could do in the finishing touches with some granite, with some nice work, with some good tile on the floors, with some natural stone on the outside. You could really make this look special. And email me. I'll give you some ideas of what I would do with it. Also, this villa would also qualify if you wanted to invest in it using your IRA. So, if you want to know how to do that, watch the video in my video series, Investing in Belize Real Estate with Your IRA. If you have a substantial amount of money in your IRA, it can buy this property. Your IRA can pay for the improvements, and then you can keep it in your IRA for the rental income, or you can sell it and have your IRA make the profit, or you can keep it, and when you turn 59 and a half, then you can start to actually use it as your retirement home. So I think it's a really cool deal for somebody. So far in this week's webinar, I've talked to you about where on the island might be good for you to consider buying if you're looking to retire in Belize and to make an investment. So we talked about that one-bedroom condo at Mar Laguna, the villa number 47, and the 2-lot options. And I've been talking here for, let me see, about an hour and 4 minutes. So what I want to do now is open it up to the floor. Many of you have been emailing me questions throughout the webinar, and I appreciate that. But what I'd like to do is just open it up. If you have any questions about anything that I've talked about so far, go ahead and ask me. Just type in your question in the question box. Or if you have another question that you would like the answer to, or a topic that you would like me to cover, a topic that doesn't take too long, let me know, and I would do it live right now. Again, just I'll give you a few minutes to do that. I'm going to take a sip of water and take a little bit of a breather. Let me do this while you're getting your questions ready. Just launch another quick poll to see what you thought of the information I presented so far. So based on what you've seen today, how likely are you to invest in Belize? And again, when I use that invest, I just don't mean making a financial investment, but I mean how likely are you to pursue spending more time in the island, enjoying the island lifestyle, as spending several months a year here, or retiring to the island. So if you would, do me a favor, just go ahead and vote. And when the voting seems to be slowing down, I'll end it and share it with the group. We have a good group on today. I really want to thank you all for your questions and for your attentiveness. This is working out really nice. All right. Okay. Looks so. You're still voting. All right. I will close it out. I will share the results. There we go. So based on what you've seen today, how likely are you to invest in Belize? 40% said very likely. I'll be emailing you. All right, that's pretty good. And I realize, of course, I can only present so much in an hour webinar, but hope it was interesting and informative, at least on some levels for you. 50% of you said somewhat likely, you need more time. Absolutely. Highly suggest you go out and take a look at my other previously recorded webinars, and maybe we can chat on Skype or FaceTime moving forward if you have something more specific to ask. 10% said you need to do more research, completely understand that. And 0%, not surprisingly, if you're going to listen to me talk for an hour, you must have some interest. So 0% said Belize isn't for you after all. So excellent. All right. Thanks, guys. So let me just look through the questions here and see which ones I can answer in a more timely manner. So here's I'm just going to give your first name because of privacy. David has a question. Can you get rental income in the South Ambergris Village? It's a good question, David, and the answer is yes, you can. So there are a couple ways you can do that. First of all, if you get your own hotel tax license for your house and I got to look at what they're doing down there because there's different parts of the village. Some parts, if you build your home on a lot within one area, then you can actually benefit from the property management company that's already in place. So they will handle the marketing for you and the renting and the check-ins, check-out, the laundry, all that kind of stuff. So you just get a check once a quarter. So there is the opportunity to do that. And I think within some other areas of the subdivision, you have the opportunity to do it independently. So you can advertise yourself on VRBO, Home Away, Airbnb, things like that. But again, if you do that, you might have to handle things yourself. Makes it a little more complicated, but certainly you can get rental income. And that is why a lot of the investors that we had come down to the island in the past, 1 to 4 years, have chosen to invest in the Hilton project because they do project very nice returns. That being said, you can get nice returns on other lots and home packages in the South Ambergris Village subdivision as well. If you want to know more about that, David, email me and I'll send you my thoughts on that. Here is a question from Ken. Are there any places to rent month to month that are reasonable, thinking long term? Actually, yeah, Ken, there are. In fact, this is not a secret, but I never owned my own property on the island that I lived in. I always rented because I chose to use my money to invest in other properties that I made money on that I used to pay for my rent and fund my lifestyle. So, for example, I rented a 2 bedroom, 1 bath condo at Royal Palms for 4 years. That cost me about $1,200 a month. I think now those are going for around $1,300, $1,400 a month. I lived at the Belize Yacht Club for many years. 1 bedroom condos there were going between $700 and $800 a month. There's lots of places to rent long term, but I would plan if you want to be in a nice area with some creature comforts, not too far from service and amenities, probably anywhere between 13 and 1500 US a month for something nice long term. But again, I recommend that if you are actually going to use your money then to invest in other properties that actually make you a financial return. Use that to help fund your lifestyle in Belize. All right. Dee Dee, thanks for the compliment. I will be seeing you on island soon, so that's exciting. Good luck in your planning for your trip down to Belize. Here's a question from James. Do you have other properties in Secret Beach? Yes, and in fact, I do. I have two second row lots in Belize that I just took the listing on last week. I have a couple of main road commercial lots. Prices there range anywhere between 55,000 US up to 85,000 US for properties directly within the Secret Beach area. And then starting about 2 blocks back from Secret Beach, I have properties as low as $35,000 US. I'm talking for land only, and those are the ones that come with financing with 25% down. So I do, and if you email me a reminder, James, I will send you updated maps and pictures and videos showing you what I have all up and down the Secret Beach area. Also, this just came up yesterday. I had a lady who owns a beachfront property a mile north of Secret Beach. She is looking to sell that and buy something closer into town, maybe even something around the South Village area. She likes that community feel, and she is now having me put her lot on the market for 135,000 US, and that is a beautiful sandy beachfront lot that does come with financing as well. I don't have any pictures or videos of it yet because, like I said, just got the call yesterday, but beachfront lots normally go for quite a bit more than that. The Secret Beach area is up around the 185 mark, 185,000 for a lot. This one is 135. So again, I don't think it'll be on the market long. It's a pretty good deal, pretty smoking deal. Another question from David. What are the HOA fees like in the South Ambergris Village? I don't know for sure. I think they're going to be around 200, 225 a month. Again, that covers exterior lighting, security, a couple other things, canal maintenance, I believe, things like that. It's not excessive, and it's certainly worth the money. I don't mind paying HOA fees. I don't mind paying fees at all. In fact, I like paying for creature comforts. I like carefree lifestyle. And so I think they're very reasonable. But I'll find out for sure on that and get you some more details. All right. All right. So some more questions here. I see some questions coming in from some of you that seem more extensive. And in other words, I don't have really the time to answer them in this format, but they are good questions. I will write them down and be getting back to you shortly, either by email or send you a private video. But listen, you guys have been great. I've been on here an hour and 15 minutes. I thank you very much for showing up. If you feel that you benefited from this, go ahead and let me know. And if you have any friends or family members that you think would also benefit from this type of education, go ahead and send them links to my upcoming webinars. I'm going to have this uploaded to my YouTube channel. Hopefully here by the end of the day, I'll be able to send you that link. And again, let me know what your plans are. Rob is right. You know, my client, a dear friend who said I should focus more on the lifestyle, he's absolutely right. People come to Belize for that laid back, barefoot island lifestyle, to have an adventure, to do something different. And that's why they fall in love with Belize and end up staying. The real estate that I help them with, that just goes to facilitate that. And I can do anything to help, just let me know. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care and hope to see you in paradise soon. Cheers.